Sport Club de Recife is a Brazilian sports club located in the city of Recife, in the state of Pernambuco. It was founded on May 13, 1905, by Guilherme de Aquino Fonseca, who lived for many years in England, where he studied at Cambridge University. In football, the club has won 6 CBF titles, including 3 national and 3 regional. Its greatest glories are the Brazilian Championship 1987 and Brazil Cup 2008. In addition to professional football, the club also participates in women's football and Olympic sports, such as rowing, swimming, hockey, basketball, futsal, volleyball, table tennis, taekwondo, judo and athletics. It has a historic rivalry with the Náutico, where the confrontation between the two is known as the Clásico dos Clásicos, this being the third oldest in the country's derby, with Santa Cruz, which is called Clásico das Multidões, and with América P, with which it duels in Clásico dos Campeões. History. 1905 Foundation. Guilherme de Aquino Fonseca, founder of Sport Club de Recife, was a member of a wealthy family in Pernambuco. His father, João de Aquino Fonseca, and his mother, Maria Eugenia Regardas Aquino Fonseca, concerned about the conduct and character of the children, ordered Guilherme to England to carry out his studies. He studied at Cambridge University, where he graduated as an engineer. When he returned from Europe in 1903, he brought, in addition to the training, a passion for football, which at the time was considered a sport of the elite. For the first contact with the ball, the young Recifense began to dream big. Upon his return, he promised himself he would found a football club, which later became the Sport Recife, and with the Latin ability, could play better than the English. Soon, there could also be several other clubs, and football would gain popularity quickly, thought Guilherme, who, with his own money, bought balls, whistles and all kinds of equipment needed for the sport. On May 13, 1905, at noon, in the hall of the Association of Employees of Trade of Recife, was founded Sport Club de Recife. Along with the club, was also born in Pernambuco football. Since there are no records of any football team in the state before the foundation of Dunn of the island, days after the founding, more precisely on May 28, was formed the first board of Sport Recife, with the following line: President Eliseo Alberto Silveira, Vice President Boaventura Alves Pinho, First Secretary Mario Set, Second Secretary Frederico Rafaelo de Oliveira, Treasurer Oscar Torres, Attorney Alberto Amorim, Director of Sports Ground Guilherme de Aquino Fonseca, Director of Marine Sports Paulino Miranda, Musical Director of Tuna Carlos Meneses. Guilherme de Aquino Fonseca left the following account of the process of founding the Sport Club de Recife. At the time, I had installed an establishment of fashions for both sexes, with the added luxury of the city called Metropolis House, situated in the former New Street. There gathered the groups that discussed the organization of a club, becoming the favorite spot of Portman, as well, says Mario Set, our first secretary, in his book Max Samboma and Maricatus. It was the hotbed of ideas sports. It was, after all, the Sport Club de Recife, our great bulwark, organized, and we can say, based on that commercial establishment. The producing this event ended up being closed, so that, as was young, with a creation gentlewoman, to know the value of money, let you have the necessarily financial precautions, diverting my attention from the business to give myself body and soul our club. It would be illogical and the foundation of a decent college sports in the back of a store. So we got a gentle and generous acquiescence of the president of the Association of Employees of Recife, in order that the halls and facilities were opened to honor the first annual installation and foundation of the Sports Club de Recife. 1905 first match. The same year Sport played the first football match against a team called English 11. The match ended in a draw, with Torquato Goncalves scoring the first goal for the newly created club. The club's starting 11 were L. F. Lathan, L. Parrott and E. Nosworthy, A. G. Silva, Colander and Ramiro, Guilherme Fonseca, Coimbra, Alberto Amorim, J. Goncalves and Torquato Goncalves. Was very busy. The inauguration of this club, growing number of ladies attending and gentlemen. The festival consisted of a game of who took part in Football Partners Sports Club and English 11. The match was well played on both sides, with one draw. We congratulate the board of Sport Club for victory, for being a new society, not left to win by English 11. 1916 first state title. After the local league was created, Sport Club de Recife took part for the first time, and won the Pernambuco State Championship of 1916. The final match was played on December 16, and Sport defeated Santa Cruz 4-1. Asdrubal and Vasconcelos. Sport's squad that year was Cavalcanti, Bryant and Paulino, Town, Robson and Smerthurst, Asdrubal, Mota, Anigam, Vasconcelos and Smith. 1950 FIFA World Cup. During the 1950 FIFA World Cup, Sports Stadium, ILHA de Retiro, hosted the match between Chile and the United States. Chile won 5-2. It was the only World Cup match played in Pernambuco. 1955 50th anniversary. Sport Recife is in its 50th champion, and winning the 15th state title, winning the Náutico by 3-2 under the command of Gentle Cardoso, and highlights how Moreira, Tracer, Naninho, Gringo, Soccer. Team final: Osvaldo, Bria and Pedro Matos, Osvaldinho, Eli and Panterens, Tracer, Naninho, Gringo, Soccer and Gio. 1978 Sport out-of-state championship. The Sport fight with FPF and not dispute the 1978 Campeonato Pernambucano. The president of Sports says that Lions neck yoke not only to Juba. The Crimson-Black trustee accused the FPF always be the champion in Pernambuco championships. The council supported the Sport, and Sport president unanimamente not entered the fray. 1987 national champions after tumultuous penalty shootout. The title of 1987 Module Yellow, played between Sport Recife and Irani, was given to Leon by decision of the Council of Arbitration CBF and Clube dos 13. Before the championship was agreed that the decision of the Brazilian title of the year would match decided in between the champions of the modules green and yellow, where the tournament begins hardly alone in this issue. Traditional clubs like Sport Recife, Vitória BA, Atlético PR, Português RSP, Anguaje, Guarani and others, did not accept to stay out of green module, and therefore the council's proposal was approved by all clubs. In the end, Flamengo and International, the champion and vice module green, did not want to compete with the general title Sport and Irani, losing the games by woe. Sport and Irani did the final two games, 1-1 in Campeonas, and 1-0 for the Sport Recife in ILHA de Retiro in Recife, though many challenged the STJD, CBF, CONMEBOL and the largest body of football, FIFA, consider the Sport Recife Brazilian champion of the 1987, and not the Flamengo, just a sacred championed green module. 1988 first participation in the Copa Libertadores. In the Copa Libertadores, the Lion failed to qualify for the next stages of the competition, finishing in 15th place overall. 1992 national title. The Sport Club de Recife won the Brazilian champion football's second division, 1990, to draw with Atlético Paranaense de Retiro in the grand final. Campaign of Crimson Black was as follows: 7 wins, 15 draws and 2 losses. Scored 22 goals and conceded 14. Championship featured 24 clubs and had as top scorer Rivelino, the Catuense B, with 11 goals. Championship had 194 games, 345 goals scored, averaging 1.73 goals per game. Guarani SP had the best attack with 29 goals, and apply the biggest win, 6-1 in Moto Club MA. The Central P and Joinville SC had defenses less castings, with only 8 goals conceded. Santa Cruz P finished the championship in 17th, and the Central P in 20th. The Sport Recife played 24 games to raise the cup. The Sport Recife had the experience of goalkeeper Paulo Victor, who had already won the Brazilian League First Division by Fluminense. The excellent Ailton, who won several state by Crimson Black, plus gained Bola de Prata in Revista Placar 2 years later than the former Palmeiras Marcio Alcantara. 1994 champion Northeast. The Sport Recife, driven by Givanildo Oliveira, winning the first Copa do Nordeste, which was held in the state of Alagoas, beating host CRBL on penalties after a draw in normal time by 0-0. Team final: Jefferson, Givaldo, Adriano, Sandro and Dede, Dario, Chiquinho and Juninho, Pernambucano, Leonardo, Fabio and Zinho. Coach: Givanildo Oliveira, 2000 twice champion of the Northeast and finalist. In the same year, the Sport Recife raises the trophy for the second time, the Copa do Nordeste, this time under the command of coach Celso Roth after a tie at 2-2 against the Vitória BA on Ilha de Retiro in the game of the round, but because in the first leg in Salvador, tied by 1-1. Yet the Sport Recife champion was considered to have done better campaign over championship, and comes also the end of Copa dos Campeões, losing the title to Palmeiras 2-1. 2005 centenary. The sport celebrated 100 years of glory on May 13, 2005. Fireworks and a huge honking at noon marked the date. On Sunday the 15th became a big motorcade in allusion to centenary, entitled to show George Aragão in front of Ilha de Retiro. During the year, the Crimson Black crowd gave a sideshow, having the best average attendance in the state and third best in round 1 of Serie B. 2006 returned to Brazil's Serie A in 2006. After 5 years in Serie B, Sport Club de Recife finished second with an 10th of October 18 record. Sport had the same number of points as state rivals Náutico, but a better goal difference, and thus were promoted to the elite division. The Pernambuco side played in Serie A from 2007 to 2009. 2008 winner of the Copa do Brasil on June 11, 2008. Sport Club de Recife became the first club from northeastern Brazil to win the Copa do Brasil, a knockout tournament along the lines of European national cups. Previous to the finals, Sport had beaten traditional powerhouses of Brazilian football including International, Palmeiras, and Vasco da Gama. In the final round, Sport was defeated by Corinthians in the Morumbi 3-1, but became champions on the away goal rule. after beating Corinthians chapters 2-0 in Recife. The finals were marred by controversy when sport directors and fans alleged the media from southeastern Brazil took sides with Corinthians, with some commentators, mainly from Rede Globo, even booing when Sport scored the first goal. 2009 beautiful campaign in the second appearance of the Copa Libertadores and relegation to Serie B. The Sport contest, his second Copa Libertadores, being featured in the first stage of the continental competition, achieving significant results and finishing as leader of the so-called Group of Death, where he played against LDU, Colo-Colo and Palmeiras, in the eighth final round to play with the Palmeiras. After a defeat in the Palestra Italia 1-0, and winning the Ilha do Retiro, also 1-0, the match was decided on penalties, and Crimson-Black team was eventually eliminated, finishing the competition in 11th position. In the second half the Sport dispute the Brasileirão, but cannot repeat the excellent first half, finishing the race in last place, being demoted to Serie B 2011 back to the Serie A of Brasileirão. After a poor first half, the Lion of the Island returns to the Series A of Brasileirão. He began to walk, being led by Helio dos Anjos, who soon gave way to the Inter Mazola Jr., replaced soon after by PC Gashmau, who did not remain in office after the fall of yield good results, Mazola fitting to the task of bringing the Sport Recife back to elite. Access was sated after the Lion beat already relegated Vila Nova Go 1-0 in Serra Dourada Stadium, with a goal by Bruno Mineiro. 2013 back to the Brasileirão Serie A again and dispute the Copa Sudamericana for the first time. The Sport inherits spot in the Copa Sudamericana by regulation of CBF towards the remnants of the Brazil Cup, as the club had not planned dispute it, was not too far in its first participation, being eliminated by the Libertad of Paraguay with 2 losses in the second phase, after eliminating the Náutico at a local classic early. The only success of the Lion, then, this season was the return to Serie A in 2014 and the approval of the Sports Arena project. 2014 Northeast triple champion and 40-time champion in Pernambuco, dispute the Copa Sudamericana for the second time and guarantees a place for next season the same. Sport had successes in the Northeast Cup for the third time, the Pernambuco Championship 40th time, and campaigned in the Brasileirão that, finishing in 11th place, ensured thus place in the Copa Sudamericana next year, being his third consecutive time to be played. As with the conquest of the season Northeast Cup, he played his second Copa Sudamericana honors. National Campeonato Brasileiro Serie A 1. 1987 Campeonato Brasileiro Serie B 1. 1990 Copa do Brasil 1. 2008 Copa do Nordeste 3. 1994, 2000, 2014 Torneio Norte Nordeste 1. 1968 Regional Campeonato Pernambucano 40. 1916, 1917, 1920, 1923, 1924, 1925, 1928, 1938, 1941, 1942, 1943, 1948, 1949, 1953, 1955, 1956, 1958, 1961, 1962, 1975, 1977, 1980, 1981, 1982, 1988, 1991, 1992, 1994, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2003, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2014 Copa Pernambuco 3. 1998, 2003, 2007 current squad. As of the 14th of July 2016, note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out of team. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Technical staff: head coaches, top scorers, supporters. The supporters of sport are called Crimson Black, Leonine and Sportista. The Sport Club de Recife has various organized supporters. There are other movements, such as Barra Brava and Ultras, respectively, Brava Ilha, Leos da Ilha. Brazilian fans of Sport Recife total 1.7% of 3.300.000 supporters. Population: Brazil 192.924.506 Hab. Rivalries: Santa Cruz. The Derby of Crowds is a duel that often leads many people to field Pernambuco. Sport has a considerable advantage in relation to its arch-rival, with a number exceeding 60 wins difference. It is the second largest difference in classic triumphs of Brazilian football. Nautico: the Derby of Derbies is the third oldest derby in the country, second only to Clásico Vovo and Grenal. Brings together the two oldest teams, Pernambuco, with Sport also having a big difference of advantages over its arch-rival, more than 20 wins. America-P. The Champions Derby is one of the most ancient classical Pernambuco, and is named because until the late 1930s, Sport and its arch-rival America were together the two teams with the highest number of titles, but also were the two main clubs. Recife. Pernambuco was the first classic of great renown. The team also claims to have rivals outside its region, mainly Flamengo, due of the Copa Unio, the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A of the 1987, with much controversy. Due to a series of recent important matches, local supporters regarded both Palmeiras and Corinthians as Sport rivals for a time. Those claims notwithstanding, neither Flamengo, Palmeiras or Corinthians supporters consider Sport to be a major rival. Board of Directors. Executive CEO João Humberto Martorelli. Vice President Executive, vacant. Superintendent Football, Ney Pandolfo. Vice President of Football, Gustavo do Aldo Barros. Vice President Administrative, Eliezer Menezes dos Santos. Vice President Legal, Aldo Barros. Vice President Equity, Alexandra George Klaus Wanderley. Vice President Engineering, Aloisio Jose Moura Duba. Vice President of Especially, Ahmed Yuri Romeo. Vice President of Marketing, Gabriel Freire. Vice President Medical, Edelson Dourado. Vice President Communications, Jose Alves de Oliveira Sobrinho. Vice President Safety and General Services, Joaquim Donato Filho. Vice President Commercial, Camilo Lelis de Oliveira Light. Vice President Social and REL Intern, Andre Fontanel. Vice President Finance, Homero Light Martinho da Silva. Vice President of Strategic Affairs, Ricardo de Sá Leitão. Vice President of Culture, Ney Castelo Branco. List of current directors. Communications Director, Paulo Rogério Machado de Lima. Director of Visual Communication, Bruno Falcone Stamford. Web Director, Andre Fontanel. Director of Information Technology, Roger Olmos. Director of Heritage, Berualdo Raimundo Lopes Meia Filho. Engineering Director, José Antonio Hawat. Officers Football, Marcos Amaral and Gustavo Bueno. Officers Rowing, Amory William Miranda and Silvio Lino Moreira. Officers Amateur Soccer, Edgar Melo Monteiro, Eucracio Dodo Oliveira and Marcos Lemos Trigueiro. Director of Hockey, Bethlehem Baldwin Joaquim Neto. Director of Basketball, Stephen Ricardo de Oliveira. Officers Table Tennis, Ivo Jose Luis and Sergio Wanderley Galindo Bridges. Director of Swimming, Carvalho. Director of Tennis, Maria Quiteria N. Goncalves. Director of the Water Park, Inez Maria Barros Borba. Director of Concentration, Nelcy Valencia. Press Officer, Alvaro Claudino. Special Advisor for Strategic Planning, Marcel Albuquerque Tenorio. Special Advisor to the Executive Presidency, Geraldo de Moura Vernon Walmsley. Special Advisor to the Executive Presidency, Aloisio Ribeiro Jr. Maluf. Council Tax, Hilton Myring Gayoso, Marcelio Paraíso Valente, Geraldo de Paula Batista Filho, José Alves Sobrinho and Valdir Barbosa Jr. Sao Paulo Office, Wally Pimentel. Council Deliberative President, Gustavo Duba. Vice President, Luciano Biva. Representatives in Pernambuco Football Federation, Emmanuel da Costa Neto, Emmanuel Gayoso and Fred Domingos. Stadiums and training fields. Stadium Avenida Malaquias, belonged to Sport Recife from 1918 until 1937. Here's more details of the first stage Red and Black, whose wooden bleachers and iron was bought by the Fluminense 90 years ago. Location, Recife. Capacity, 8,000 people. Opening, America P3-1 Flamengo on May 15, 1918. Attendance record, 8,000 spectators. Adalmar da Costa Carvalho Stadium, better known as Ilha do Retiro, is a stadium for the soccer practice, and official seat of the Sports Club de Recife, located in the neighborhood of Ilha do Retiro in Recife, capital of Pernambuco State. Recently was considered the best stadium in the Northeast by its structure, location, and FIFA standards. The Ilha do Retiro Stadium, inaugurated in 1937, with a maximum capacity of 35,520 people. Arena de Sport and the sports complex will occupy a total area of 174,000 square meters. Will feature the multi-purpose arena, known as, and with capacity above 46,000 seats, and even the arena can increase capacity to 55,000 with the removal of removable seats behind the goals, of which 15,000 special chairs captives 5,800, 2,914 40 suites cabins and 19.8 numbered chairs. The parking lot will have 4.450 vacancies. In the complex will have a shopping, hotel, 2 office building, a convention center and a specially maintaining and redesigned seat and Saputai Zero. And wanting to keep all the equipment you have today, all amateur sports as well as swimming pools, will be covered by the project. Contemplating all amateur and Olympic sports that the club now has a total of 14 sports. All they will have better structures and blocks. The pool area, much used by its members, is maintained with no loss of space, with a gym with capacity for 2,000 spectators. The complex also has an amphitheater with capacity for 15,000 people, where events will be held. Has a modern museum, likened to the museums of the best clubs in the world, with all the history of the club and with their trophies. The contract with the construction company only allow the use of surface for 30 years. All recipes now preserved, i.e., the box office of the games, the collection of members, the TV rights. The sale of 100% of Uniform Sport continues. the more revenue, a percentage of everything that is leased to third parties, this 30-year period. That is, the income of the business shopping and shows the possible sale of the name of the arena of the sport. Moreover, it will have a significant financial contribution that will be used to fix old debts of the club. After 30 years, all proceeds will be 100% of sport. In early 2014, will begin the process of demolition of Ilha do Retiro, with estimates of the current club president. This way is the only way to begin the process of work on the arena, budgeted at 750 million reals, with a deadline of 2 years of work for the arena and another year to the complex, and the final end in mid-2017, when sports make the 112th anniversary. Training Center TC President José de Andrade Medicis. The TC President José de Andrade Medici, also known as CT de Leo, is a sports training center located in the city of Paulista, belonging to the Sport Club de Recife. Located in the neighborhood of Paratiba, distant about 30 kilometers from Recife. The site, with a total area of 8 hectares, is used for training and professional team of the basic categories of sport. The Lion CT is currently undergoing major improvements in the structural part. The CT de Leo has 5 fields sizes offices with the total area 8 hectares. Date of purchase, April 3, 2007.